I think sometimes there was that change you could see as you're getting older and becoming a teenager, and you're starting to develop, and you start having an attraction to the same sex, and stuff. And that was coming on, and I could see it, but I still didn't know.
In 1492, something happened that dramatically shifted the course of history. That year, Christopher Columbus set sail from Spain in search of India with an important goal in mind: to raise money for the Catholic Church while spreading the teachings of Christianity to every Indian he encountered along the way. Columbus never made it to India, and when he finally reached land, he encountered the original inhabitants of America. Columbus and his missionaries were appalled by the practices of these American Indian tribes that directly opposed the teachings of the Christian Bible. The Europeans viewed these people as savages and their practices as barbaric. One tradition that fell under the greatest scrutiny was the tradition of the Two-Spirit.
Hearing the religious aspects about being gay back then, it would tell you you're going to hell, you're being condemned. And then to try to understand that concept, what is that? What is that? Why would God do this to you? Our Creator, our God. So I'm looking at it from a Christian point of view, a religious point of view, thinking, is it true? Did you make this? Did you make me this way, God, that I one day will go to hell? And so no matter what I do or how good I am or try to be good and do the things that are pleasing to my Creator, my God, that it won't matter, that I'm going to go to hell because of who I am. And then I think, well, God, is it true that you knew my life before I took my first breath? Is it true that you knew already before I came out of my mom's womb, that before I was conceived, that you knew I was going to be gay?
When the Europeans came, they had a very condemnatory attitude. The earliest cases that we have of the Spanish coming into Latin America show that they did things like actually killing the Two-Spirit. There's a very famous picture of Balboa, the Spanish explorer in Panama, who actually found the Two-Spirit people and sent dogs to literally rip them apart. This began a period of hundreds of years of oppression of the Two-Spirit tradition.
I was released and terminated from my job because they used my sexuality, and my boss, I think she became kind of afraid. And she started telling some of our parents on our parent committee, powerful group, my friends, thank God. She started telling them, Ben is gay. He's gay. I don't think he should be working here, and we should think about letting him go. Well, he's really got to watch him, especially around those kids, especially the young boys. She was telling him, but there I am at this time being a single parent of 4 boys, and not realizing these are the comments going out there on me. So I was terminated. All of a sudden, that was what came out of why I was being terminated. Although they were saying that I was not doing my job, I actually did a great job.
I had never heard the word faggot until I moved away from the reservation. And that happened my first year of college when I was on campus, when a person looked at me and said, "Oh, you're a faggot." And I never heard that term used in that way, and it felt very demeaning, because the way I was raised and the way I was brought up, being who I wasn't seen in any negative way.
Most of us have now started kind of connecting to Christianity, and that influence is very powerful. I'm not saying it's all bad or anything. I'm just saying to this part, it can be bad, and it can hurt, and it tears. I've seen it tear families up. I've seen some of the students that I work with in high school commit suicide, and it was really sad, because there you are telling them, you have to love them. That's your children. First of all, our culture, we took care of each other. That's our children. You take care of them. But you got to love them for who they are, because this, in our own true traditions, our history, they are part of everything. That circle.
In the 1880s, when the Zuni sent a representative to Washington, D.C. to address their concerns with the federal government, they chose Wewa, who is a Two-Spirit person. And when Wewa went to Washington, the government officials, including President Grover Cleveland, thought that Weiwa was a female. And so there was all this story about the Indian princess in the White House. So it's probably the first case of a transgender person or a two-spirit person being in the White House.
He was welcomed and treated with kindness and respect, all the while being mistaken as a biological woman. Newspapers around the country told of the meeting between President Cleveland and Weiwa, the Zuni princess.
I remember, you know, you get your high school senior yearbook, you go around, you pass the book around, have people sign it. I remember there was this guy, cross-country runner, and I like to run track and everything, and he was signing it. And he signed it, and I didn't read it until later, and it said no, wait a minute. He signed it in the class, and then he did something and wrote it, but he said to the nicest gay friend, you know. And then he took it back and he changed the A to a U, to the nicest guy friend, you know, like that. And it caught me then, because then I started realizing, what do people see?
I think American society is really caught up in the boxes and the labeling of who individuals are, and that the allowing of individuals to be who they are is not seen as socially acceptable. That we have to divide individuals in square boxes. Well, you're native and you're lesbian, or you're bisexual and you're uncircumcised, you know, those type of things. That's American thought processes. That is something that has historically been ingrained in who we are as Americans. Yet when we try to take away from that and try to understand the native, then we begin to understand really that these boxes never existed.